Hello and welcome back to art class, and today we're going to wrap up our coin drawing. For the most part, we should have everything pretty well laid out. Many of you got your stuff turned in to me so I could make some little comments for some small adjustments. A couple things I did notice that some people were trying to draw exactly what I have, except their coin was actually different. So make sure that you're actually drawing what your coin has. And if you have a picture on there of your coin, it helps me out for helping you out. So one of the first things I need to do is I'm going to go in, I'm just going to verify, that I think that I have the starting and ending points of my lettering where they go. Basic sizing correct, double checking some other letters. Okay. Liberty's right there. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and I'm going to start, I think I'm going to start with the lettering. And the lettering is not actually stick letters, so like that's a stick letter. Let me draw it a little bit darker so you can see it. And that is a stick letter. What I really need is small block letters is what they really use. So there's a couple ways you could do it. If you're good and you can just draw the letter in a block form, go ahead, do that. But most of us, including myself, especially with long spacing of letters, have to do it in stick letter first like this. But then you can carefully trace around it and erase the inside. Now, unfortunately, I'm drawing so small, I don't have a lot of room for my eraser. So I think I will have to bring in a regular eraser. Okay. So I gotta kind of space out where my letters are gonna go. I like to do it in stick version first because it helps with spacing of letters and less to, if I make a mistake, it's easier just to erase it. So I'm going to draw U. Notice that all letters are capitalized. In the United States, the I is actually just a stick, not have the serifs on the top, the parts of the top and bottom. Okay, now I have a rough idea. I think my America is going to have to come over. make adjustments like I am as I go. I'm moving some letters over to make them fit better in the space. And then I can go in and erase my boxes around them. So all that should be left is the letters when we get done. I'm gonna have to redo that U, it just looks terrible to me. There we go. I'm just going to go ahead and erase all of the America. I have a rough idea where it needs to go, but the letters just don't look good where they are, so I'm going to move them over just a smidge more. Notice I have to turn my paper as I'm doing my letters. Okay, it's not 100% even, but it's darn close, and that's really kind of where I think we should be, is just going for pretty darn close. All right, so we get rid of the box that goes around. Think of it kind of like a text box that you're getting rid of, you know, when you're working on the computer. There we go, United States of America. Okay, those are all my big letters. Now, I'm down to the smaller Liberty and In God We Trust. Those are honestly, I think, too small to do as block letters really neatly for most people. So I'm going to be okay if you are just really neat and can write them in nice, neat stick letters. Try to get them spaced well. If you want to try to do block letters for those, you can also do that if you want. You're looking for that little extra challenge, because I know some of you are that way. You're wanting to test your abilities and see how good you are. Right, so it's okay to do those a stick. This one would probably be okay to do if you're doing the same quarter as me. This one probably could do block letter. This one I think almost everybody will agree if you have something like this, that it's just going to be a lot easier in stick form. because of the size. And if you also notice, all letters, at least on American coins, are all capital. It makes it easier to read. All lettering is done. I'm going to move on to my interior lines and things like that for detail work of my person. Now, my person happens to be George Washington. Some of you had nickels, that would be Jefferson. Some of you had dimes, that would be President Eisenhower. If you had a penny, that was going to be Lincoln. If you have a 50-cent piece, which a couple people did, that was kind of cool to see. That one is, trying to think of what president that was. I can't think of his name offhand. He's the one that started the NASA programs. Oh, it'll come to me. But anyway, detail work on the interior is what's next. So like for me, I'm going to look at his hairline, not the actual hair, but the line that, you know, where his hair is, ends and his scalp begins. So he's got a bit of a one here. So his hair sticks out of his head just a little bit right there. And then this is kind of his hair. So it should actually be a little bit above his eye level. So come down. See his chin's or cheek right there, so it stops a little bit above that. His ear, bottom of his ear is like right about here. And he has hair covering up the top of his ear. And then he's got this curved, well, I'm honestly wondering whether it's, when they did this one, it could be a wig originally, but it's like big curls in the back of his head. So it's like right here. And then the ponytail happens right there. And other things I'm going to be looking for, so that gives me again another line to kind of follow. And this will be his hair. Need to do a side view of his eye here. The eye is going to be right at the corner where the bridge of the nose hits the skull. So right there. So this is part of the brow ridge, and then this is the top of the cheek. You know, if you've ever been hit by a ball right in that area, that's where the bone is right there. It kind of hurts just a little bit. And then like that, I'm going to simplify it a little bit. You can see a little nostril here. He's got a line right there where his nose joins. Mouth. And Washington wasn't known for smiling, so I can't make him look like he's smiling. Get his chin a little bit smoother because he didn't have a beard, so I don't want to make it look like he had a beard. I do need to put a little bit of his jawline in. The jawline connects into his chin. Now I can see that. That may not be on your coin. I can see that. He also has a bit of a muscle line right in there. So I'm going to put that. That goes down to his neck here. And then there's another line for the top of his shoulder that appears. Put that in as well. And he's actually in the face and neck pretty much done. Now if you were doing like Lincoln, there might be a little bit of a jacket showing. I want to put some detail in his hair. I'm not having to copy every single line, but I need to do the majority of them to make sure that it's looking right. Now his hair, for mine, is very wavy, so it's not zigzaggy, it's wavy. And it all kind of goes to the same direction. Go. And then what I'm going to do is go in and just touch up. Now, once you have your details, if you are happy with the line drawing, you can stop there. Just make sure you go in and get rid of any lines that really shouldn't be there anymore. So your text box lines, all that, take the time, clean it up. Now, again, there are some of you out there who are like, well, I want to go a little bit further. Where you might go a little bit further is with a pencil. You can use this pencil. I have a mechanical, and unfortunately, what would be better is a regular pencil for this, but I don't seem to have one on me. But you could go in and add a little bit of shading. I personally like to add a little bit of shading, at least to the center background here. And I'll explain why this one first. Okay, the big reason why I like to add a very, very light gray shadow to the background is it helps cover up some of these extra lines that we had from erasing and things like that. That's the biggest reason. So I go in, and like I said, a regular pencil will actually shade a little bit better, but I can do it with this one. It's going to take me a while. And I want it to be super light, so notice that I'm holding the pencil way here in the back, so it's going to be super light. I'm going to leave the letters being bright. And I'm just going to work the background. Like I said, one reason to do that is just to clean up and hide some of those lines. If you're not sure how to do what I'm doing for shading, then I recommend practicing on a separate piece of paper. Practicing on the final copy, probably not a good idea. There's mine. Again, the shading in the background is not required, but it does enhance the look of the coin, and it helps hide some of the pencil lines that you might see in the background. If you're not sure about it, you can test it on a separate piece of paper, a scrap piece of paper, and just give yourself a try on shading and see how well you do. If it's not going well, then don't do it on the picture. But if you think you got it, give it a shot. The other thing you might notice is as I went around, I kind of darkened the edge underneath the rim just a little bit to really make that rim stand out. And for those that are like, well, I really want to go and shade the person a little bit, you can do that, just be very careful. Because every time you shift your body in the light, especially on a shiny coin, the shadows will change a little bit. So that's why I'm just going to leave my guy white and just leave the lines showing. All right. So I need you to finish this guy up, do the letters. Okay, remember the big ones will all be actually in block letters. The smaller ones should be in stick letters. And then do the detail work on the inside of whatever picture happens to be there, whether it be a person or an object. Right. Take a picture of it like we normally do, upload it to Google Classroom, and I will see you next week.